we can start with the introductions here, just briefly introducing ourselves. So I'm David Blockstein with Bard College. I'm the co-director of the project Solve Climate by 2030 and Worldwide Climate and Justice Education Week. And this is our sixth year with the project, and I've been with it since our first year. And my background is that I'm an ecologist, an ornithologist, and conservation biologist. So, Chi, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. It's Ji from National Sun Yat-sen University in Taiwan, in the south of Taiwan, Kaohsiung. So it's my fifth season to join in this worldwide teaching. Very rewarding, and we draw a good crowd every year. So looking forward to this year's event. Thank you.
Great,
And
great.
yes.
And Somnath, do you want to introduce yourself, please? Somnath, are you able to unmute and introduce yourself? All right, well, let's go on. Richard, do you want to introduce yourself, please? Thanks for
Sure.
joining us.
Yeah, I'm glad to meet you all. Glad to be here. My name is Richard Reese. I'm a fellow at the Institute for Sustainable Cities, which is based at Hunter College in New York. And we developed a game called Energetic that will be also part of the game, the Climate Game Week event. And I look forward to describing it to all of you.
Yeah, so Richard will be a presenter at our webinar on the 4th of February, so in a couple of weeks. All right, Brian, my neighbor who I haven't met yet in person.
Hello, I'm Brian Alexander. I'm a futurist specializing in the future of higher education. I do a lot of work on climate change, including my most recent book, Universities on Fire. I'm also joined by one cat who will no doubt try and show off at all points, so my apologies.
Okay, great. And Eunice, nice to have you with us. Do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you. I'm Yunias Abdurrahman Suleiman, resident of Sudan, but in Kakuma refugee camp, Kenya. I've been participating in this project last year, and again, hoping this year again we will do our best, of course, to reduce the climate issue here and where I am. It is my pleasure to be among you, all of you. Thank you.
Oh, great to have you, and we'll give you a chance to talk about some of the great things that you did last year. Jenny?
Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm Jenny Washam. I am the engagement coordinator in the sustainability office at the University of North Carolina in Charlotte, North Carolina. So our office has hosted events as part of Worldwide Climate and Justice Education Week for the last few years. Since I've been here, we did one last year, a film screening. So I'm excited to learn what you all are planning for this year as we plan our event for this year.
Great. Good to have you with us again. And Faith, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. It's evening where I am in the Philippines. My name is Faith. I'm a fourth-year student at the University of the Philippines, Open University. And I just want to share my current climate interest is permaculture. So I think I want to study more about it and make more permaculture projects. And I've been talking with our school about permaculture projects because we have a perma garden, and I think I'd like to explore that area more. So that's all for me. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for for joining us. Eric.
Hi, good morning. I'm Eric Byers from Henrico County Public Schools in very near Richmond, Virginia. And I'm excited just to learn more.
Well, excited to have you. Alec?
Hello, everyone. I hope I am audible.
Yes.
I apologize. I can't open my camera since I have very bad connection. Anyway, I am Alec. I have been involved in the movement for, I think, going 3 years now. I am currently working in the Department of Finance of the Philippines under Climate Finance Policy Group. And I am just excited how this year would go and excited to learn about you. Thank you. Good to see you again, Doc David.
Yeah, great to have you. All right. Laura, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Laura Henry Stone. I'm driving. I may not have had my mic muted, I just realized. So I just wasn't sure I'd be able to join you. I'm from the University of Lynchburg in Lynchburg, Virginia. Hi, Brian. Hi, David. And I had an event last year that involved Brian Alexander here in Lynchburg, and I'm heading to my class on environmental justice and climate justice, and I'm going to engage in planning an event for this semester. Thanks.
Laura is
Great.
awesome.
Yeah, so we're getting a good Virginia delegation here. And Shrushti, I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Hi, I'm Srushti. I work for a firm called Depi Center, and currently we're involved in climate education among school children in India. So I thought this would be a wonderful learning opportunity for me. I'm very excited to be here.
I thought she started to implement that. Like what? You thought she stoned.
Well, glad to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You won't joke in that voice.
Meg?
Hi, sorry, I'm joining from my phone. My laptop has just stopped working. But I'm joining from University of Nebraska in Lincoln. I'm representing the environmental sustainability program there. They've been involved with this for about 6 years, but this is my first year.
Great. Well, looks like a good group, a combination of a lot of experienced people, a few new people. I'm going to introduce Margie in a moment because she's our main presenter this morning, and she's going to have to leave in a few minutes. But first, I do want to just show a quick video kind of summarizing the project. And some of you have seen this probably quite a few times, but I'm going to show it anyway, briefly, and it's a 3-minute video, and so we'll start with that.
Where are you emotionally on climate change? 1 is I never think about. 10 is paralyzing anxiety. Can't sleep at night. Don't want to have kids because their world will be through this topic.
The Worldwide Climate and Justice Education Week is about helping people move from climate despair and disengagement to a mindset of climate repair. This is the education that changes the future. So Climate Week is for everyone. It's for students, faculty, and staff from all subjects, like artists and psychologists, scientists and business majors, students of music, literature, economics, international affairs, healthcare and engineering, you name it.
Join tens of thousands of people around the world in growing climate education. You're not alone. People on your campus are really worried about climate change. If you step up, others will join you. At your school, you can make climate an event. This means solutions and justice events on your campus. Art, theater, panel discussions, films, faith meetings, music, games, fairs, and displays. Check out our website for examples from all over the world. Engage your whole school.
On top of your events, you can also help to make climate a class. This means encouraging climate-concerned teachers from all subjects, art, history, chemistry, psychology, all subjects, to spend at least half an hour talking about how climate change solutions and justice are relevant to their field of study, how artists, historians, chemists, and mathematicians are all thinking about climate change. We have step-by-step guides on our website to help you make this happen.
Last summer was the hottest in history. Massive fires, heat waves, floods everywhere. We have to stop it from getting hotter every year. You can help organize Climate and Justice Education Week at your school. The biggest threat to our future? Thinking that someone else will lead, that someone else will stop the climate crisis. Now, not next month, not next year. We all need to step up. Join us.
So thank you all for stepping up. And I realize that I forgot to give Beth a chance to introduce herself. So Beth, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we have a couple new people, and then we'll go to the presentation.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Beth Schaap. I am the outreach coordinator for sustainability at Towson University, which is in Maryland. And Towson's been participating in the climate teach-in for many years now. I don't have the exact number, but yeah, so good to be here.
Yep, there's, I think, since our second year, actually, so 5 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, and Desiree, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, would you like to introduce yourself, please? And thank you for joining us.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very happy to meet you for this event. I'm very interested in the protection of environment. I'm from Burundi, and now I'm living in Rwanda as a refugee. But
Wow.
to protect environment is, for me, an objective of everyone. And even if I came later here, I'm very happy to join this group of participants to improve skills about how to protect environment. Of course, climate, we have to improve skills to protect environment using climate justice.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I really appreciate people like yourself and Eunice who are refugees and are still taking the time to be engaged in this issue. So thank you. Michael, would you like to introduce yourself briefly, please?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike. I work at Taylor University and professor of environmental science. Happy to join today. I've been receiving the email some time and finally getting a chance to join you today.
Sorry, and which university, Mike?
It's Taylor University, Taylor. It's a small school in Indiana.
Indiana. Okay, great. I have to say I had not heard of Taylor University, so
Okay,
glad to have you with us. Okay, and Joyce, Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hello, greetings. I'm sorry I cannot open my camera. I am Joyce Susan Buenaventura. I'm 17 years old from the Philippines, and I currently want to take on the track of doing and knowing more about climate action and climate justice so that there will be a progressive change, since I think it's a very crucial topic that many more people need to do more about. As I see it in the context of our country, is only a seasonal wave and it's not truly progressive. So I think I need to know more about it so that I could share some information and actually do active participation on this topic. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. And yeah, Brian put in the chat about how happy he is with the international nature of the meeting. And yes, it's really exciting. And for me, this is one of the real benefits of the project is just to get to know people from around the world. And the reason that we do go around and introduce ourselves is because this is, not just about educating our own local community, but building a global community. So what we're going to do today is to talk about Climate and Justice Education Week, talk about Make Climate an Event. And we have one speaker this morning, and I'm going to turn to her now because she has to leave in a few minutes. But one of the other pleasures for me, I've really liked the way that we've been able to connect with art and art education and art institutions. And a couple years back, I guess 3 years back, through a Bard College alum who was at the Massachusetts College of Art and Design, she convinced her colleagues to do a climate education teach-in. And I guess from one single event, it is really grown. And Margie Ann Levine from Massachusetts College of Arts and Design has been one of the leaders in what has now become a real institution at the college, and a real and taking the word Education Week in a very serious way. So Margie, I'll turn it to you so you can talk about some of the wonderful things that you and your colleagues have done. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I have to run in like 15 minutes because it's opening day here at Mass Art. So I have to go do that. But my name is Margie Levine. I am faculty in Fine Arts 3D. Specifically, I teach metal casting and welding. So I am an unlikely candidate to be the face of sustainability here on campus, but that's what's ended up happening because I am chair of our sustainability in the curriculum committee. Why is it telling me to update my speaking language? I'm in English. Okay. So as David mentioned, the first teach-in that we participated in as an institution was before my tenure as on the sustainability committee. So I have a little bit of information about that, but then I can speak more to what we've done the past 2 years, which, we kind of went big, which tends to be what I do. So I have some images, if I can share my screen, if that's okay. Hold on one sec.
Yep, it's enabled.
Okay. I'm not very good at the Zoom.
As a visual artist, you certainly have images. So.
I do have images. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay,
you
great.
should just go to slideshow. Perfect.
Okay, great. So is this thing in the way? Oops.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. All right. So like I said, the first year that we did this, I believe that was 22. we were or 21. We were in the thick of COVID, and it was all virtual. So the committee put together a 3-hour virtual event that consisted of a bunch of different topics. This being the first one. And what they did was really nice. They had at least 2 speakers for each session and topic. And then those sessions were moderated by students and alumni. So it was really engaging for the students. And this, like I said, I'm just going to scroll through really briefly. I pulled some of the slides from that whole slide presentation. And remember that we're an independent, we're an independent College of Art and Design. So, everything that we're doing is geared towards that genre. Session 2, Climate Action and Creative Practice. So we had people, this was a whole section on our newest dorm facility called the Treehouse. It's a LEED certified building and all that kind of stuff. And then people from fashion talking about, they have very specific projects, zero waste, pattern design, etc. Section 3. This was a really cool community build project that an architecture faculty presented. This is one of our studio managers in communication design who's developed this whole roadmap to, artistic sustainability. Now I can speak a little bit more in depth. So I took over the committee in academic year 22-23, and we were pretty much back on campus post-COVID. I was here the whole time, but we felt like people were really craving more in-person activities. We wanted to go not virtual anymore. And it also happened to be the 150th anniversary of the college. So we dovetailed in with that. And kind of looked at this as from the vantage point of how do we sustain the next 150 years, especially from a climate and justice vantage point. So we were really analyzing our materials and methodologies. What we did, which I think has been really successful, is we put out an open call to make sure that anybody that wanted to participate and had something that they wanted to add to the conversation was able to do so, versus, I guess this is where my personal background of, being on the periphery of some of these conversations, being labeled the dirty metal shop girl. I sometimes feel like I'm not included in conversations when it comes to environmental art, specifically because we're so dirty. But in fact, we're actually the most important people to be part of that conversation. So we had I developed a week-long series of events consisting of presentations, demonstrations, discussions, and happenings across campus. It ran Monday to Friday. And, anybody who had anything to propose, from just incorporating a lecture in your class that week, simple, to actually offering a whole, college-wide demonstration. This was an awesome performance event led by Ava, actually, David, who David was talking about, Bard alum, that was going on for a full day, and you could actually, anyone who walked in could participate in the event. This is a fashion design student who was teaching people about the sari and, how it's made and how you drape it. The jewelry, metalsmithing and jewelry students did a repair it and rewear it day where you could bring in your broken stuff and they would actually fix it with the help of the studio managers and instructors. There were panel discussions or, sort of roundtable discussions led by faculty, staff, and students. This is a class called Objects That Change Lives that we highlight during the teach-in, obviously, but runs year-round anyway. And they're making Zier pots and rocket stoves and ceramic water filters, etc. And then, of course, Jane Marshing, who really is the queen of sustainability here, brought out the Resilient Pigment Library, teaching people, where our color traditionally comes from and how we can do better. So that's a little bit from the 23 teach-in. Last year we did a very similar thing, except it got bigger. So the theme from 24 was Material Matters. Again, open call, not, not invite only. And really placing an emphasis on student involvement. So so some students were actually proposing content, but even those who didn't, when faculty and staff proposed content, we asked them to find a student assistant for the workshop or Skillshare so that we could really get students stepping up and sharing knowledge. So we had 28 different events from over 15 different disciplines, all art and design, right? But so when I say disciplines, I'm saying sculpture, painting, photography, architecture, art history, etc. Here are some of the examples, and here are some of the images. So we had this awesome walnut ink drawing event, learning how to not only make the walnut based ink, but also make like homemade sustainable drawing tools. Bundle dyeing with our fibers faculty, using dried flowers to dye fabric. Several of my students came together to do rust printing and dyeing with all of our scrap metal. Plant-based holograph printmaking was going on. There was a several day long mending workshop and separate event clothing swap, which was really great. The students were having a blast. And then one of the most successful things that we did last year, which I'm really excited about, is we did essentially a Pechakucha style presentation, but you're not allowed to use that term because it's trademarked. So we said student snapshot presentation. So we had, I think, 10 students representing 7 different departments, presenting their work on the junction of sustainability and art and design. So on the left, we have Haley Rivas, who's a fashion major, who was a fashion major. She graduated. And on the right, we have Olivia Foss, who was glass and industrial design, doing all of this work on coral reefs. Anyway, so this year we're following in the same vein, although we have consolidated it down to one day, but it's going to be this huge convergence in our big open atrium area. The theme is material mapping. So we're shifting focus a little bit on like finding and identifying resources across campus for shared materials, as well as use and reuse. So like, what does one department have that another department could make use of instead of it just being considered waste? And having this sort of material swap and teaching event going on in the DMC atrium all day. We're also going to have we're going to do student presentations again, and we're also going to do faculty and staff presentations because that seemed to be really exciting and successful. So that's what we've been up to. I can unshare my screen because I really hate staring into the void, but I'm happy to go back to any of those slides or answer any questions. And of course, and because I have to run here in just a few minutes, obviously, if anybody has any questions, reach out. I'm happy to help or advise if I can. I don't know that we know what we're doing, but we have a lot of fun doing it.
Brian, go ahead. That was great,
question.
Margie. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Comment is, Margie-Ann, this is terrific. I'm so excited to see this. It's really great. Question is, how did you fund all of
this? So we have done most of this with actually very little funding. Academic Affairs has helped us out with like promotional materials and a little bit of money for refreshments at certain events where we're trying to actually entice people to come. But that's kind of it. Right. Last year, we had a little bit of funding because we joined forces with our sustainability minor, and they actually have a budget that they were willing to help us with. But again, we're talking about hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars. So we're really trying to promote working with what we have here on campus as far as resources. We're not asking people to spend money out of pocket and then, begging for a little bit of cash for pizza for the students. right? I got, like the students that did snapshot presentations, I got them t-shirts from the president's office, that kind of stuff, right? But we're really doing it pretty state school poor here, which is good.
My colleague and friend Mitch Thomashaw, former president of Unity College in Maine, uses the term frugal sustainability.
That's
That it's about using this, and so Margie's presentation is Massachusetts College of Art and Design.
Yeah,
Nicknamed
and like none
MassArt.
of us, the people coordinating it, we're not getting paid to do this. We're sitting on a governance committee, which is part of our contract, right? And this is an initiative that we as a committee voted to take on, and so we administer it, right? It's one of the biggest things that we do in the academic year.
Go ahead, Meg.
I was curious about, you talked about the open call to really like open it up to everyone. Do you have a medium that worked the best for you? It was like social media, email, anything like that? Just because I really want to work on that as well, just like getting to people, especially students, and letting them know this is happening.
Yeah, so I don't have a slam dunk answer for you there. So we do send out an email, and I don't send it out personally. I send it out through academic affairs, right? So it's a little bit more legitimate. But as we all know, students especially don't necessarily read their email. We do post on social, but like I don't have control of that content, right? So like if I want to post something at MassArt Boston, I have to send it to Marcom, blah, blah, blah. One of the most effective things that we found is that I have announcements made on like opening day, right? So like where I'm going right when I leave this call, the provost is actually going to even though the email save the date already went out, the provost is going to announce it and get people hyped up for it. And the first year I think was the hardest, right? Like as soon as you build a little bit momentum, then people are almost expecting it and they know who to reach out to, right? So, we've done stuff like gotten stickers printed and stuff like that. So again, like at least like even if it's last year's sticker, but somebody sees it on their water bottle, they're going to remember like, oh yeah, the teach-in happens in April. Maybe I should get in touch with Jane or Margie or whoever. But while I say that it's been an open call and we have gotten content from that open call, we have had to supplement that with reaching out to people that we know and saying, hey, I would really love it if you would contribute this, but then find some students to do it with you, right? So we're still trying to be really inclusive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll point out that Meg is a student, and that University of Nebraska-Lincoln, in their participation with us each year, has had a student who has been empowered with organizing the event. And I think, for those of you who are faculty members, that student power is amazing, and that if you give students an opportunity and a little bit of support, it goes a really long way.
Yeah. We also have done stuff where, what's the carrot kind of thing. So the 2023 teach-in, I guess, the first one I ran, we actually told people from the get-go that we were going to run an exhibition in the fall based on work that was either presented or generated through the teach-in, which is really nice. So like, especially for students, but even for faculty and staff, like, oh, if I do this workshop during the teach-in, like I get an exhibition out of it kind of thing, which is always something that we're looking for putting on our CV. And same with the students doing presentations, right? Like I take any opportunity to remind students what's going to look really good on their CV, right? Because they're really trying to build that history. So doing a snapshot presentation, like it's 5 minutes of your life, but it looks really great on the CV kind of thing. So a lot of it is just sort of word of mouth and hyping people and getting to the right people. But now I think we have momentum, so it just keeps getting bigger.
Well, thank you, Margie. I know you need to run to your opening, so but yeah, this is fabulous. I think, you know, we obviously when you get artists together, there's tons of creativity and great energy, and I've been able to participate virtually in a couple of the events, and actually it was in part it was Mass Art sort of moving to a week-long activities that motivated us to say let's call it Climate and Justice Education Week, and you know, whether it's a full week of activities or a um, you know, or an activity during a week, that the important thing is to be participating and to engage your community. So thanks
I
very
guess
much, Margie.
you're very welcome. Thank you for having me. And I'm going to be back this evening too, if anybody like has questions, right? I'm coming back later. Or reach out, please. I'm happy to help if I can. The last thing I'll say, that, and I don't know if I made this clear enough, is that the biggest selling point that I've used is that this does not have to be additional work, right? If you're a student or a faculty member and you have to teach a class or be in a class that week, all you have to do is say, I'm going to give my presentation on permaculture, right? Somebody used that earlier, during this week. Like, that's all you have to do. And then you participated, right? So we definitely have had people contribute way more than that, right? I mean, I spend months planning this and people are doing whole day workshops and stuff, but if you can make it really easy and attainable and say, just like, if you're planning your semester and you have any sustainability content, put it that week. Done. You're not doing anything more than you would be doing. So I like to play to the laziness sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to run. Thank you all very much. I hope that I helped. And
Yeah,
I
that was
wish you all the best.
very inspiring.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So I think that Margie's presentation is just a great example of what can be done with, as she says, not a whole lot of money, but a lot of energy and enthusiasm. One of the key things really with Worldwide Climate and Justice Education Week is that we're just the inviters. You're the organizers. You know, we create this thing that we call a set of events, but you know, other than my partner Eben Goodstein does organize something at BARD, but otherwise it's really up to you and the people at your institution to do what works best for you, because you know what works. You know what your community, your students need. What we do is we provide opportunities like this to hear from each other, to share ideas. We have on our website, on our events page, there's some templates for organizing, and you know, we're happy to share with you and talk with you and to run ideas back and forth, but it has to be your thing and not our thing. So I think at this point, if you don't mind, I'm going to just ask a couple of you who have done events in previous years to give us, obviously we don't have time for full 15-minute presentations and you didn't prepare them, but just give a couple minutes about what you've done in other years and maybe what you're thinking about for this year. So Chi, do you want to begin, please, and just tell us a little bit about what you've done in Taiwan, please?
Thanks, David. For the first year, we organized kind of whole campus events. So we invite government officials and to the university. And for the second year, unfortunately, it was the COVID time. So we document. We interview 17 professors from different departments, and then we showed the films and discuss online. So that's carry on for like a documentary films, viewings and discussions online. And then for last year, we reach out to the community. So we organized three events. One in the kind of National Science Museums. So we discussed. We students organized like nine panels for 9 topics, posters on the clean energies, and discuss with the public. And one in indigenous tribes and communities. And then after the events, we keep with our posters were like on the community corners, like the eateries. So people visit the communities can also so it's like a carry on the posters. I learned the so in previous years there's workshops on making posters, which I found quite useful for me to help students to kind of after their teachings, still the knowledge can be spread out through the posters. So students feel achieved, and also we receive kind of responses from the community peoples. So that's mainly the kind of quick the summaries of the events we done. And for this year, we were still thinking about the new forms, but still I found reaching out to the community, the teaching in and teaching out. Maybe we'll organize the 2 events. So still organizing. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. And I love the diversity of activities and the fact that you are not just within Sun Yat-sen National University, but also reaching out to the community where you are. So that's great. And I should say that with events that obviously during the COVID time, everything was virtual. We actually this project began with the idea that there would be a in 2020, March 2020, which you may remember was kind of a fraught time, with holding in every US state and in a few countries one online panel to identify priorities for climate action for that particular state or nation. And the idea was that they would then be webcast out to other campuses in the state who could then gather and talk about it. And so, in a sense, we were pre-adapted to 3 weeks later to switch into a full virtual mode. So almost all of those panels took place. Now, most everything is in person, but Jane, I know you just got on, but if you don't mind, we also have had continued virtual activities through some of our partner organizations. And Jane, if you don't mind, maybe introducing yourself and just give us a sort of a quick summary of the virtual event that Climate Diet did last year.
Sure. This is Jane DeMarinis with Climate Diet, and we did a webinar with 2 partners. We're focused on the impact of food on your health, but more particularly the climate, as our name indicates. And we had the executive director of a partner organization from Phoenix, Dr. Salish Rayo, who is sort of a well-known, I don't know what you call it. He's done these debates in the UK and he's won them. So there's been a lot of activity in veganism and plant-based eating in the United Kingdom, and he debated people and won these debates in the United Kingdom. So he's sort of a celebrity, maybe more so in the UK. He's a partner out of Phoenix, and their other partner was local, although they're out of they're up in Ithaca with BARD, Farm Animal Rights Movement, and they talked about the animal cruelty aspects of climate and you know the food process. But I think we had nearly 100 people attend, and we were really thrilled, David, to be a part of your organization because we know a lot of those were students, and the biggest group interested in, according to research, interested in sort of climate, and there's a lot of anxiety around this, and you're probably aware of it among young people. So we really want to, and using your slogan, don't despair, take action, or whatever your slogan you've been using is perfect. There are things that you can do, and one of them is eat less meat. So we're really happy to be a part of this group, and we're actually working now on a webinar for this year. And I had a question for you, David. Can we do more than one, or I'm not even sure? Okay, because we have a
Yeah, but Jane, I think you also didn't mention what attracted most people to the event was Erin and her demonstration. So maybe you want to say something about that too.
I think you're right. So my daughter is a vegan businesswoman in Tampa, Florida, and has some just really one vegan product. But she is I don't know if you actually call her an influencer, but she's sort of more well known, I think, in her own network in Florida. But she does a lot of cooking shows with like Bloom TV and some networks, and I think some are local. But so we called it Cooking for the Climate. I think we named it, and people were definitely interested in seeing a demo on some plant-based eating. I'm not sure what she cooked up, but she's an accomplished vegan cook, plant-based cook.
Yeah, so the Climate Diet event not only had the speakers, but what really drew people in was having this vegan cooking demonstration that Erin did, and that I think shows kind of a nice way to use the hybrid aspects to well, in this case it was all virtual, but yeah, thank you, Jane. I want to give I know we're getting towards the top of the hour, but Eunice, are you able to unmute and talk about the climate week that you and your team organized at the Kakuma refugees community? Eunice, are you able to unmute?
Yes, you ask me, you ask Eunice.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in position. I can speak.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, for those people who have joined maybe recently, I'm Eunice Abdurrahman Suleiman, resident of Kakuma refugee camp, that is Kenya. So I will briefly brief you about what happened last year. Of course, we also did a great job according to our side. Maybe you can judge from your side or from your end. So we trained, of course, 201 participants. Those are the children that we trained them during that time, starting from date 1 up to date 7. And that is 1 week. Of course, it was a great job. It is like this is the first project for us to implement, and and people are very excited about it. Of course, the time when we came in, of course, the first thing that we did, we engaged the community structures so that they should understand that what we are here for and our mission and the vision as engaging the kids. We have been given a permission to go ahead with the project, and we have implemented it successfully. Different topics. The first topic, it was launching. Of course, we launched it during the day one, whereby we invite the community leaders, securities, and block leaders, so that they should understand what we are in the community for, so that they should not they should not misunderstand us. Then day two, we discussed about climate science workshop. Of course, this is what we did with the children. And then in day three, of course, we did art, climate justice. And then in day four, of course, we did reporting on a community dialogue and film screening. There is a video, maybe I can also share the link in the chat if you wanted to see. And at the end, of course, we have also ongoing actions that currently we're implementing it. I have 10 women's that our participant last year. Currently, they are continuing with the same thing as I'm speaking to you. Maybe I can share with David pictures if that is so much important. So that is one. And then number two, of course, we have created a WhatsApp group whereby we share things related to climate. We educate the people through social media. So that is one of the things that we did. And then, of course, a recommendation now from the participants that we have been given, they have said that that one should not be our last. We should participate. We should participate there. This year, we have planned also, of course, to train them on waste management, and then a provision of they have also requested things to do with the renewable energy sources, such as like solar cookers and then of course but I of course tell them that I'm not in position to do that, but I can train you over it, and then we will see with the collaboration of the people. Maybe people are interested in this project. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I mean, it's really impressive. And last year when we had some funds, which unfortunately we don't have now, we provided a small grant to Junius and his team. And they, as he said, organized this week-long event with everybody ranging from children to community elders, and not just education and training, but really then moving into action and implementation. Alec, would you share, I know you've done so much with Team Philippines, but maybe give us a little bit of a summary of some of the things that you and Faith and some of your other partners from Team Philippines have done, please.
Hello, Dr. David. So I thank you for that. In the past 2 years, we have been very active in terms of engaging different universities and schools. So of course, we have been consistent with the University of the Philippines, Open University, having teach-in online webinars, having webinars about sustainability and climate justice. But what I wanted to highlight maybe is an event like this. We've had a webinar where it was attended by, it's a nationwide webinar open for all teachers, where we introduced how to make climate a class. And apparently, even though we are surprised that even though it is a very simple matter, integrating the talks of climate to, let's say, natural sciences, that talks about the subject of social sciences, and even in values, they gained a lot of insights, and they asked many questions as to how, because they are really willing to integrate this, the topic of climate justice, to their classes. So that's one way we encouraged the participation. And as I remember, there has been teach-ins around even after the Climate Education Week. Because of that, it has a trickle-down effect, the domino effect. Also, of course, through the efforts of Tony Suzuki Lagan, no? We've had another teach-in. We also able to reach Japan, and of course, introduce a localized resource website on climate, which I recommend also for others because it also has international resources called the Klima Papel. I believe Dr. David here is familiar with that. And we are still promoting that and using that as much as we can. So this year in our preparations, we are focusing on very, very pressing topics on climate justice. So our leader, she was not able to join here on climate justice, sets its focus on climate mitigation, specifically the transition to renewable energy. Not just the transition, the just transition, the proper way of transitioning to renewable energy, because it's a very pressing issue here in the Philippines. There have been there have been movements of transition, like switching public transportation to electric vehicles, but in the end, it is not just. No, it compromises. It raises a lot of human rights violations and all that. So we wanted also to incorporate that and focus that. And we are also introducing the concept of rights of nature, if you are familiar with that. So kind of also jiving and harmonizing with biodiversity, the rights of nature. We have a bill on rights of nature in the Philippines, and we aim to put that into the discussions of climate justice in order for that to be passed on as a law. So those are just some of our plans for the incoming Climate Education Week. Thank you, Dr. David.
Yeah, thank you, Alec. And they've had at least 30 different events in the Philippines over the years that we've been working with them. And I very much like this idea of the webinar to train teachers to make climate a class. That is sort of the other sort of, in addition to making climate an event, this making climate a class to encourage every educator to incorporate climate justice, climate solutions into their teaching. And actually, next week's webinar, we're going to be talking more specifically about how to make climate a class, how to convince your colleagues to incorporate at least some climate content into the teaching that they do. So we've had a lot of great ideas here, a lot of examples, and I mean you can just see the diversity of approaches. I will follow up with everybody who registered for this, and if you didn't register but just got the link, maybe put your email in the chat so I can make sure to follow up with you. I will send you a copy of the recording, and I'll see if I can get Margie's presentation and background in terms of what you've been able to do. And Eunice has just put a YouTube video into the chat for us as well. So any as we're leaving, and certainly if people do want to stay on beyond the top of the hour, I'm available to do that. But are there any questions or comments from people who haven't had a chance to share yet? Yeah, go ahead, Desiree.
Thank you very much again. Climate justice is a very interesting topic for me, who am born a refugee in Rwanda, who am an African. In general, we know that climate change makes many negative impacts for Africans. I had obligation to participate to this event to prevent negative impact of climate change. Here in Rwanda Mama refugee camp in Rwanda, where I am now, there has been a good project to make refugee camp green. There are trees which help us to have good oxygen, and it helps us to build a good health. For climate justice, I think that today it is very important to continue such virtual conferences. I thank you very much for this great initiative to promote climate protection, good climate protection. I often watch videos on YouTube channel. In USA, today, California, Los Angeles, I never go there. But we see the very negative impact of climate change, where many persons are obliged to flee their homeland just to find a very secure area to live. This is in USA. In Africa, in Burundi, in Rwanda, in East Africa, sometimes you cultivate today, but it is unfortunately difficult to find results. When it is not running, it is not running. When there is no water, you cannot find the result. You cultivate after 3-4 months, you cannot receive results. So this initiative is very important to share ideas, how to share skills about bad impact of climate change. I'm very happy to meet this session, and I think that those ideas given by some participants here will help me and will help others to protect our planet. I lead a refugee-led organization, Denuta, GMEPRO, Denuta think tank, Découverte de Nouveaux Talents in English. It means talent discovery group, which means we think and we try to give solutions to the existing problems in refugees, in refugee community. And also we try for GMEPRO, which stands by justice, by mediation program. We try to resolve problems using mediation, because for us, it is not necessary to go to court when you go to court, you create something which is not good. You create something which is like you are enemy, I am enemy of you, you are enemy of me. When you go to court sometimes, or in many situations, it creates a bad situation. So we try first to think about our existing solution problems, and we try to give solutions. The second, we try to make mediation in refugee situation, in refugee community, to build peace using peaceful means, which are mediation, tolerance, dialogue within our different races, our different ethnicities, our different nationalities. Here in Rwanda, there are many refugees from different of nationalities, from Burundi, from DRC, from Sudanese, from South Sudanese, Afghanistan. So I'm very happy to join this session for me because it helped me. I thank you.
No, we thank you. And I think, I mean, this is a great example that, you know, for many of us that, you know, this concept of climate justice is an academic concept, but for you and many others in the African continent, which is a continent that collectively contributes less than 4% of the greenhouse gases, and almost all of that is from South Africa and Nigeria, but yet is bearing the brunt of climate change. I mean, that is really the definition of climate justice. And so for those of us in the US and elsewhere, you know, we might think about in any events or things that you're organizing to maybe invite Desiree and Eunice and others to participate virtually and to help your students to really see what climate justice looks like. So thank you. Brian, go ahead.
Just a quick question for all of you. This Friday, I'm addressing a bunch of American university, college, and university presidents, and I'm going to be haranguing them about taking climate action. And I'm just wondering first if I can mention the efforts that you guys are all doing as examples of existing climate work on campuses, but also if any of you have any advice or recommendations for me. Richard immediately flung up a hand.
Go ahead, Richard. And you need to unmute.
Yeah, but so actually I'll put a couple links in the chat. I'm not sure which universities you'll be speaking to, but the most effective thing anywhere right now, but on campuses especially, is public deliberation. So a student citizens assembly, it should be happening this year on every campus, but especially at the top schools, because they're really driving our economy, right? Like it's a very concentrated economy. So there's no accountability, right? I mean, I'll finish here because you can look at the links, but basically students leave and enter careers, and the careers reiterate the economy that we have, which is not decarbonizing. So it's like everybody knows this, but they can't do anything about it, right? But if you can intercept that process when the students are actually in the same room and they can look each other in the eye, you have a little bit better opportunity to open them up to the scale of how much the economy needs to change, which means that downstream from that, they're already oriented because they've confronted it. And that's basically what's not happening. I mean, it's why we're on this call together, right? But the thing is, the amount of traction on a campus is tiny. Bard may be better, but we've had over 100 interns, 140 or so, including from a lot of the Ivies and pretty much every school on the East Coast. The student engagement's like 3% on a campus. And it's not because they don't know about climate change, right? Like they all know who Greta Thunberg is. It's because there's no deliberation, there's no engagement, social engagement. So the easiest thing to do is to try to tune it out. So anyway, that's what a university president could do. It's not so much about going through the steps of a class. I mean, that's going to be good, but it's the deliberation, student to student. And I'll put links to the chat because we actually did one on a small scale, and other people have proposed this because it's a no-brainer. University presidents, if they actually do want to do something, that's the easiest, quickest path.
Easy and quick, easy and cheap. That's definitely going to appeal. To your question, this is the American Association of Colleges and Universities. So it's institutions that have a focus on undergraduate learning. So a lot of state universities, a lot of liberal arts colleges, some West Point, some research ones. It's a real mix. I love this idea. I love this idea very much. I've been in rooms like that where some of these conversations have happened, where students during PhD work say, "Oh, wait a minute, is my PhD work actually going to worsen the world based on this?" And thinking, of course, about the Ivies, where so many of the students go on to work in high finance. And a question I'm putting to everybody is, to what extent are your campuses going to have a reckoning about your role in contributing to the climate crisis? How many petroleum engineers did you graduate, right? How many graduates went on to, yeah, please.
I'm just going to interject one thing to support what Brian is saying. In 2007, 58% of the male Harvard undergrads went into one industry, which you can guess, but finance. So close to, more than half. If you had roommates, if you had a 4-person, 5 people in a room, 3 of them were going into finance, right? So the banks in the US have just pulled out of the global climate, the global alliance for global financial alliance on net zero, right?
Yeah.
That's those graduates, right?
Yeah.
So, we know who, we know how the system works. You can actually look at the web pages for career out of universities. And it's a mistake to be arguing with that system downstream, which is what we are now, rather than just, no undergraduate's going to say, yes, I want the planet to turn into a burning wreckage, right? Most of them. There's going to be a few who might be okay with it, but the proportion is way on your side at that point. You wait 20 or 30 years and you've lost it, right? So like those Harvard grads, we've lost those guys, right? And that's what I would say. So, I mean, we have to do it on every level. And ideally you get the undergrads also and recent graduates to speak back into those industries. But the big point is that right now there's no mechanism, right?
Yeah, there's no, it's interesting to think about how we've lost that generation of students. It's interesting parallel to think about them as well as all the CO2 and methane already baked into the atmosphere, right? This is but how many, how many of those graduates are going to go on and work for Goldman Sachs and become donors for their universities? And will they be in a position to say stop climate action on campus, or will they have a change of heart and move against it? My pitch to these presidents and provosts is that they need to be thinking about this reckoning ahead of time, right about now. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'll say one brief thing to that point. I think it's very hard for a trustee of a university to block a democracy event, right? To block an assembly, a student assembly, because what's your case? I don't want the students to talk to each other. I don't, so you know what I'm saying? I think it's a good path.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you. And thank you for the link.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I'm gonna also, I'll send you and include with everybody, the other video that we have is again, about a 3-minute video of students, international students from our worldwide social media internship that we did a few years ago. Alec participated in that on sort of a critique of the academic system and in the context of climate change, and a call for educators to make climate a class. And so I guess that would be another thing that I would encourage the presidents to provide leadership to get their faculty members to at least for a day to show the connection between what they are teaching at the what they're teaching in their subject matter, whether it's language or arts or humanities or engineering, to show them the connection between that and the climate crisis, and even in finance, to show the role of finance in driving a lot of the issues, with the idea that with every topic, with every subject matter, you can make a difference in your own professional career. So anyway, I'll send you some of that, and I'll put the link for the Climate Education Week as well. So I also put in the chat that as you do decide on your participation this week for Climate Justice Education Week, to please do register so that you can get your dot on the map, like behind me from a couple years ago. And there's a video on how to actually register and to edit your event, so to be on there and participate. So take a look at that as well. So I know we're well past the hour here, but I think this has been a great exchange here at the end as well. Are there any other questions or things that people want to share at this point?
David, I'd just like to make one comment. I was interested certainly in what Brian had to say and Richard's comments on that. But no matter what career people take, even if they're probably 3 meals a day, and in their personal lives, people can eat less meat, and it makes a huge impact on the climate, even 1 day a week. If people eat less meat. We've done some tallies on this, and if the population of the United States gave up meat for 1 day a week for 1 year, it's equal to taking 25 million gas-powered cars off the road. So it's not an insignificant amount. And the methane, of course, that is emitted by animals, cows especially, stays in the atmosphere and is 80 times as potent as carbon dioxide. So I'd just like to mention that even though people have careers that might be not so climate friendly, their personal lives, they could still make a contribution. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Jane. And yeah, and I think we will be just in wrapping up here, in future webinars, we'll be doing these, and tonight we'll actually have Margie and one of her colleagues are going to talk again about the mass art. We also have somebody from University of Kansas, and I put the link into their a news article about their climate events a couple years ago, or actually last year. And then the next week we're going to talk more about Make Climate a Class, the week of April, or of February 4th. Richard and some others who have designed games to teach about climate change and climate solutions are going to talk about games that you can play individually and with your students. The week of on Tuesday, February 11th, we're going to have two groups that have curricular resources, troves of vetted curricular resources that educators at all levels can use. The Clean Network and Subject to Climate, we'll talk about their collection. And then on the 18th, going back to Jane's comment, Mike Hoffman from Cornell, emeritus faculty, is going to talk about using food as a way of educating about climate change. And we'll have more webinars as we go forward. Definitely something about climate emotions, climate anxiety, and that, and some other things to help you to prepare for your participation. So thanks everybody for being with us today. Thanks for staying on extra. And thank you all for your work in educating others about the climate crisis and the fact that there are solutions to move very quickly to a just transition, as Desiree told us. So that ends the formal presentation. I'm going to stop the recording now. And if anybody wants to stay on and ask me or tell me anything, we can continue with that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say two really quick things to Jane's comment. The past year, I've been working with a lot of higher education food service companies and organizations. They are all very, very pro plant-based diets. You can see it in their brochures and their images, which are almost entirely vegan. You know, they don't show a sizzling steak, but they show fruit and vegetables. But they're also ready for campuses to push a more plant-based diet. The second thing is I just wanted to thank David. Thank you so much for hosting us and for all this great organization. Thank you very much.
Well, it's a pleasure. I mean, we couldn't do anything without the creativity and energy of each of you. So thank you. It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Be well, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure.
Mind it makes them open to that if they've gotten out of an ideological, one community and they're going into another. So there's a lot of different like moving parts because people are complicated. It is super hard to people are uncomfortable associating their own behavior, and I think the thing is, on a practical level, like for us overall, the important thing is look at the big levers, which is why, when we're talking about universities, if you can establish it, that you're part of society, that's a huge jump, as opposed to just someone who needs a career, right? So like, is your identity your career, or are you also part of society? Thinking about that a lot after the inauguration of Trump, because that was basically, driven by ideology that there is no society, sort of a cynical view on the part of the people really behind him. But then, if you're just talking to your family, the biggest things you can change, just start changing those, I think, and make it feel normal. I mean, sorry, that, yeah, no magic bullet, but I will share with you, I'll share with David some of the research we see that stands out. It's in the Philippines, people have a much smaller footprint. So I think it's not, in terms of justice, it's really for the people on this call that are in the US to focus on, because the US is doing the damage. You're nodding, and yeah, I mean, it's crazy to ask people in other parts of the world, because the US is so overwhelmingly disproportionate, and to be blunt, it's well-educated Americans, because well-educated Americans have more money. So the surest sign, this is the last thing I'll say in this, if you want to find someone with a big carbon footprint, look for people with diplomas from universities that lead on climate science, because it's going to be the same group. So that's the paradox. The universities that have studied climate for 60 years are, the world's top universities, and their graduates are the world's top emitters. So obviously that would be a good place to try to square things up. Anyway, it's the end of my story there.
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the irony, I mean, Richard, you and I are the only people from the over-consuming world who are left on the call here. And, we have these amazing young people who want to and are doing things in their community. But I guess part of the answer is that you get a better quality of life. And so even if you're in a place where you and your community are contributing almost nothing to the global climate crisis, that by adopting more sustainable practices, as Eunice was talking about, in terms of solar cookers instead of burning firewood and charcoal, that you're improving your own health as well as the health of the planet. So, these are win-win situations. And yeah, thank you for your note, Srushti. And yes, please do connect by email, and this is really for everybody here. Faith, if you want to set a time to have a more direct conversation, send me an email, and even with the time differences, that we'll figure out a time to talk. And that's the same for anybody here. I mean, what motivates me in this project is the opportunity to meet and to collaborate with each of you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
we could keep on talking for a long time, but I actually need to do a couple of things here and get ready for another meeting in a few minutes. So thank you all, and we will. I'll follow up by email. And please join us for another of these conversations.